imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रस्तृतस्य शाखा गुणा प्रवृद्धा विषया प्रवाला अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्तानि कर्मानुबन्धानि मनुष्यलोके. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. न रूपम् अशेय ततोपलभ्यते नन्तो न चान्दिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरुद्धा मूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चैव तथा पदं तत्परिमाग्रित्वयम् अस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रदाये यतः प्रवृत्ते पृष्ठा पुराणी. Nirmana, sorry. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. निर्माणमोहजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवर्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसमज्ञैर्गच्छन्ति अमूढा पदम् अव्ययम् तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. न तद्भाषयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावका यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं परमं मम. That supreme abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. ममैवंशा जीवा लोके जीवभूता सनातना मनः शस्त्राणीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. शरीरं यद् अवाप्नोति यच्चापि उत्क्रमात् श्रवतः गृहीवतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धन् इवाशयात्. The living entity in the material world carries its different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पृशनं च रसनं ग्रहणम् एव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयान् उपसेवते. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. उत्क्रामणान्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body we enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one who but one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तोऽपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self realization cannot see what is taking place through they may try, though they may try. यद् आदित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रांसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. गाम् आविश्य च भूतानि ध- धारयामि अहम् ओजसा पुष्णामि चौषादी सर्वः समो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रिता प्राणाप्न प्राणापानसमायुक्ता पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधम्. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम्. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. द्वौ इमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरं चाक्षर एव च क्षरा सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते. There are two classes of being, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. उत्तमः पुरुषत्वम् अन्ये परमात्मेति उदार्तः यो लोकात्रयम् अविश्य बिभर्ति अव्ययास् ईश्वर. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. यस्मात् क्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च pratitha purushottama, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. यो मामेवम् असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमा स सर्वविद् भजन्ति मां सर्वभावेन भारत. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृष्णस्य भारत. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by you. However, understands this, whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी. जय हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhaj Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Bhaj Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
So, Hare Krishna devotees. So, today we are going to see 15th chapter, slightly long. We will also cover science and spirituality today after this. Let's start off with, Mangala Charana. Before that, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, Mangalacharna. You can all chant behind the mic. Om Anyana Timurandasya Jnananjaya Chalakaya Shri Chakchurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadastikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopecha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patithana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. All ready for the chapter? So let's start. Right? Today it's called the Purushottam Yoga. We already have seen in the previous chapters who is Purushottam. Purushottam means none but our Krishna. He is the only Purushottam, supreme enjoyer, right? So it's called the yoga of the supreme person. Hare Krishna. So now let's see what did we do yesterday, right? So in the 14th chapter, quickly, what were the things we did between 14.1 and 4? We did the liberation and conditioning of the living entity. Between 14.5 to 9, we did description of binding of the pure soul by the three modes, right? How these three modes pervade and how they dominate. Between 14.10 to 13 verse, recognizing the supremacy of each mode within every person, right? So every mode has its own supremacy, so which dominates. 14.14 to 18, action and death within the modes, right? Which wins, which dies. And 19 to 27 concludes with transcending the modes. How do we transcend modes? So which is what I always, he started off with Arjuna in the second chapter, right? He clearly says, Traigunya Vishaya Vega, Nishtraigunyo Vavachana. So clearly there itself he's telling that you have to break the three modes and go above. So Hare Krishna. So let's see what's in 15, right? So it starts off with, till 15.1 to 5, becoming detached from the material world, right? And to tell what material world is, it's a reflection of the spiritual world. So from 15.6 to 11, it talks about Purushottama Yoga. So that is a transmigration. So what is it? It's happening there. Between 12 and 15, same thing where Krishna's position. What is Krishna's position as the maintainer? So this whole chapter is Purushottama Yoga only. So what are we seeing is one division we will see a transmigration, another one we will see Krishna as a maintainer. And also we will see the three shlokas, in Bhagavad Gita, which summarizes the Vedas and the various, Vedantas of living entities. So let's actually deep dive in to see word after verse. Hare Krishna. So we'll start with 15.1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdva Moolam Adakshakyam Ashvatam Prahur Avyayam Chandam Siyasya Pramani Yastam Veda Savedavid. Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas."
Hare Krishna. So what is he telling? He's telling that there is a banyan tree, right? So wherein the roots are up. Urdhva Moolam means the roots, it's an upside down tree, right? The roots are up and the branches are down, right? So that is what it's talking about. And why is it like this is what we're going to see. Hare Krishna.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
This is how it is, right? Ulta, upside down. So you can imagine. Hare Krishna.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with the determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial.
So the moment we see, the first thing which goes in the mind is, when did I first come here? How did I get conditioned? What is the source? So what happens is, every time they say, so when you contract any sickness, like chronic sickness, like cancer, the first thing which comes in your mind, or rather everybody around also, what happened? Suddenly what happened? Where did it come from? Where did you manage to get it? See, these kind of, and maybe it is heredity. So all these kind of analysis is not going to take anyone anywhere, right? So what is very important, you have to get the person treated, right? Isn't that more important? So this is very similar. So we are all deceased conditioned souls. When we got deceased, why we got deceased, why though we all know, but from which point exactly, which day and time, it's of no use. Instead of doing a research on all this, we can spend the time as to how we can cure the disease, right? That's more relevant. Don't you feel? Yeah. Yeah, correct. So this is the same thing which we are talking about, right? So what is happening is, the entire concept is that it's a mirror reflection. Nobody knows where it is. Similar to where Krishna is, right? Krishna is Adi Purana Purusha. So the beginning, he is beginningless, he is endless, right? And there is no middle also. So he's there. He is like complete, right? Same way how it is very difficult to perceive him, since we are also his spiritual spark and part and parcel of Krishna. It is very difficult to perceive where we originated, where is fine. It's Goloka, Vrindavan, it's Vaikunta. But then when did we come here and how we are here? So what is the best solution? You must think of going back to a place where you can never return. What is the visa? The visa for that is devotional service. And that is what we are working on. Hare Krishna. So let's see this.
Mataji,
There is no audio for me also. But anyway, I'll release the audio. It's just a jib. Hare Krishna. Natad bhasayate suryo na sasanko na pavakah yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Hare Krishna.
the abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world.
So basically, the sun, moon, and all this exist only here. Why? Because we have, I already told this Mahat Tattva is such a thick layer which is covering our universe, right? That's the outermost layer, like the coconut. So the sun and moon is required to illuminate, whereas there it is not required at all. Hare Krishna, so sorry. So it is not required to illuminate the sun, moon, and all that. The artificial things are. So whereas this, sorry, just give me a. Hare Krishna, so sorry. So the sun, moon are all required to artificially manage the place here. Whereas the same thing is not required over there because Krishna's effulgence is there. And also here, if it's very hot, right, we keep the air condition on. And if it's very warm, we, correct. So if it's very cold, we keep the heater on and all that, right? So we do artificial conditioning. So why is this so important and relevant is because of the fact that here, the temperature is totally dependent on the external factors to an extent that this is actually even sun, moon are all Maya, right? These are energies of Krishna. But having said that these are energies of Krishna, what happens in the sun, moon and all that, they have a particular time. They're all demigods, right? They all are controlled by Krishna. Whereas if you take over there, it's like an automatic control. Let's say both of us are there. I like slightly chiller climate, then automatically the temperature gets regulated to me to suit my body. Whereas for someone else, it is they prefer warm, so they give it warm. So in the same place in Goloka Vrindavan, we call it tailor-made, right? So Krishna has tailor-made based on what we like and our desire. So that such is the speciality of Goloka Vrindavan. Many of this seems very strange and non-believable. And the same was the case when, if you had spoken a few hundreds years back that somebody could fly up, right? People over there said, how can you do that? Right? Your grandfather and grandma would have never spoken about WhatsApp. Why? Because it never existed. Not in paper, but even in their minds, right? Because that's thinking which never even came. Whereas today you see, we are literally having a class through what we are wired, right? So this is a technology improvement also we don't know. So these are things even 100 years back, what's happening here, we don't know. 100 years later, what will come forward also we don't know. So what's happening in the material world itself, we are so unsure of. And therefore, when it comes to the spiritual world, we can nowhere compete what is the level of power and potencies they have and what varieties are there. The only way we can know about this is to Vedas. Vedas is like the mother, right? The mother has to tell who the father is. So that's how you get to know the father. Same way Vedas tell us how these worlds are. So we base everything on Vedas to understand because Vedas are written by God himself. Hare Krishna. Right? Such a beautiful thing. Just imaginary view of how Goloka will be. Hare Mame Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manasasthani Virani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. Hare Krishna.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, what they are telling is the living entities in the conditional world, which is a material world, even though, as I told you, there are spiritual parts, but however, because they are so conditioned, right? These senses are there, 6 senses, right? One sense itself by itself is very powerful, but these senses put together, which includes the mind, right, makes it so difficult and hard to survive. So that is what is so clearly said here. Hare Krishna. Shariram yad avapnoti yachapi utkramatishvarah gृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धान् ivashayat. Hare Krishna.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas.
Hare Krishna. So what they are telling is the body, when it moves from one body to the other, like how air is carrying the aroma, the living entities, when they move from, in the material world, they have different perceptions of life, right? That is from one body to another. Today we are in a human body. When you go into an animal body, you have a different thing. So just like how it is based on body, they have their own perceptions. Hare Krishna.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, and nose and senses of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
So very clearly, like as I said, human has sensitivity of all are very powerful. But there are some, if you take a dog, right, its sense of hearing is extremely high, right? And you take a tiger, the eyes are very powerful, right? It can sense. So what am I trying? So what I'm telling is when you group them, right, certain senses are dominated. Particular set of senses are dominated, right? So that varies from one to another. Hare Krishna. Utkramantam stitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudha nanupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Jnana chakshushu. Chakshushu means vision. Jnana means knowledge. So we are talking about vision of knowledge. Hare Krishna.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
What they are telling is a foolish person can never understand or perceive, right? How will you quit? Incidentally, I met someone who told that, I won't anyway remember. So how does it matter whether I'm in a dog body or a cat body? It's very easy to tell. But if you can actually, if somebody is intelligent, right? So this is called the mode of ignorance. And why I will highlight this? Because if you are at a younger age, right? So all of you have gone to college, most of them, or at least at your youth of your crucial part of your 11th and 12th. So what's happening now is you'll have this contemplation, right? Whether to study, not to study at a younger age also it comes. Some of you all will take that studies is important and you all will study, which is good. Some of them will think that no, let me just enjoy life here. Let's enjoy. Why we should do homework, right? Now the point what happens is the person who's not doing all this, right, eventually has to battle the entire life. But when you battle a particular point in time, right, regulate yourself, take to books, do your basic duties which are required, what happens is you get into more comforts, right? So this is exactly what they're talking about. So somebody who how would you call that person? You call the person a fool, right? He actually wasted his prime time, prime age of youth. Why? Because he did not understand the value and he is in ignorance, right? So he would have not perceived that if he had not studied or if he's a fifth dropout, the way for him forward could be more challenging for someone who's graduated, right? So therefore, that is exactly our position. So if we understand Krishna consciousness and head, we are graduating here slowly. And even if we do not successfully do our PG and reach Krishna conscious, we at least have a degree of graduation which is carried forward for us. That is what is important. And when you quit the body, we are already protected by Krishna. We are no more, right, under the spell of material world. The moment you become a devotee, we are free from the clutches of Maya, right? And everyone wants this freedom. And that's called the regulated set and principles of freedom. Hare Krishna. So this is what it is, right? So confused. Hare Krishna.
So,
We just read. We just read. Hare Krishna. So this one on the right is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, and you can see that all his devotees are much older than him, so it's a mixed age. Also, a speciality of Chaitanya is he came 500 years ago, and he was so special that at a very young age, right, he came into sannyasi, and what, and also he was the first where he gave the name that irrespective of whatever you are, he gave him the right. For example, Haridas Thakur is a Muslim devotee, and he gave him the Naam Kirtan, and he's called, he's so special that he does japa on Krishna the entire day. So that's the power of Haridas Thakur, and that is the potency of Chaitanya, where he said that even if the person is born from a Chandala family, right, literally, he can be elevated in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
the endeavoring transcendentalist who is situated in self realization can see all this clearly, but those who are not situated in self realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
So very clearly they're saying that those who are situated in this soul, will be able to understand, right? Otherwise, they, no matter what we do, as I said, it's not going to help. So irrespective of wherever you are, even if you're a Brahmana, you won't realize unless you are able to see in that concept, right? So this is, so what is it? They're talking gravity is a very important force. It keeps our planets orbiting the sun and ropes our galaxy together, right? But can you see gravity? No, we feel and we experience it. So let's see what Krishna is talking about. Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayami aham ojasa pushnami chaushadhi sarvaha soma bhutva rasatmakaha. Hare Krishna.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
So what is this two parts? What is the juice of life to all vegetable? Moon is responsible for vegetation, right? So he says that he becomes a moon, and therefore he gives the juice for the lives of all vegetation. All the way, you will even see some flowers actually bud during the night, right? And this is not just applicable for the flowers which bud, but it's applicable for every single thing. So he says that I enter each planet, right, by my own energy. So whatever is here is his external energy, right? So he's entering the planets. Hare Krishna. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. Hare Krishna.
I am the fire of digestion in every living body, and I am the air of life, outgoing and incoming, by which I digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Okay, so Krishna is very clearly telling that he is the, see, for all the digestive elements which are there, he is the one. And how it's all the incoming air, the outgoing air, all are there. There are four types of food which are used, right? So typically, you know what, which some you swallow, some you munch, right? Some, some which, so those kind of food which are hard. So all these are digested by the stomach. So that's the special. That's only Chaturvidham. Four types are the foods which are being digested by the digestive elements which are there, right? So liquid, all that whatever is there is taken care by Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sarvasya chaham hidi sannivisto mattashvriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaisha sarve ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. Hare Krishna.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Hare Krishna. So we just started, right? I just told you all very clearly that what is special about Krishna. One, Krishna, see on the right, is situated in everybody's heart, right? So now what he say, yes, that is clear. So from me only comes the remembrance. We already said this, right? Remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge comes from Krishna. So what do we, why do we need remembrance? And remembrance we need, that we are clear. Why do we need forgetfulness? If we are having any trauma, it's very important to have forgetfulness. Otherwise, we'll never be able to move in your life, right? So that is why Krishna has given forgetfulness also. And also forgetfulness is also important for us to enjoy a part of life in the way we think is enjoyable. Conditioned people want to break away from Krishna and enjoy. So only if they have forgetfulness of Krishna, unless they want, they won't be able to really enjoy it, right? So that forgetfulness also Krishna is giving. And he is the one giving the knowledge, right? For us to, in both the material world, to strive, as well as here in the spiritual world, to reach it. So he very clearly said that by all the Vedas I am known. So he is the compiler of Vedanta. He declares. So anybody says who wrote Veda, how, very clearly it is Krishna. And Vyasa is one incarnation of Krishna. Right. Hare Krishna.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible.
Only two categories of people here. Fallible means chances of making mistakes, right? Which you already fallen, right? And vice versa is in the material or the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them.
So is it that only these two exist? So we saw two fallible, very good. This thing is, another one is infallible. Are there only these two categories? No. There is one more. Who's that? Our Krishna, right? The greatest personality. How he has entered every universe, and therefore he is actually maintaining all of them. So he is this person. So beautiful, no? On the right side. So a picture of him, if it's so beautiful, if we see him in reality, just imagine how beautiful he is going to be. Hare Krishna. So this Yasmacharam atito aham aksharat apochotamah ato asmi loke vadecha prathita purushottamah. Hare Krishna.
Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible. Because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
So all worlds, see this world, that world, Vedas, everywhere, he is a supreme person. Why? Because he is beyond the two categories, right? He's just, he's Achyuta, he's so perfect and he is beyond everything. So if you see, everybody, all the great demigods, devatas are all praying him, right? So Shiva is also praying him, and that is where they all meditate upon Vishnu. So this is a very beautiful picture. What are they telling is they're talking about how everyone and whom they are all meditating upon. So we see Brahma meditating on the lotus feet of Vishnu. And so this is a story of Brahma and all of them who are around him. Also, they are talking about Shiva talking to his wife Parvati, and he is explaining, this is clearly given in Padma Puran. He is talking completely. So Parvati is asking Shiva, can you please tell me what are you meditating on? Because with Rudraksha Mala, Shiva is constantly meditating. So Shiva is meditating on whom is a question which Parvati is asking. And Shiva is also explaining that I am meditating on my Vishnu. Also, one more story is there in the same Padma Puran where Parvati says that, after Ekadasi, this Vishnu Sahasranamam has 1,000 names of Vishnu. And she says that, I go ahead and tell these names, but these take time, right? You have to have this 1,000 names of Vishnu. It's going to take a very long time. So to do this, in case I do not have time to do that, is there any shortcut? We all need shortcuts, right? And she also says this is not an exception. It's not like every day I want it, but just a day when I can't do, right? So what do I do? So Shiva is telling Shri Rama Rama Rameti Mano Rama. So this one, I think all those who know Vishnu Sahasranamam will know. So I'll complete it. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Mano Rame Sahasrananam Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanami Shri Rama Nama Varanami Om Nama Iti. Hare Krishna. So what it means is, hey, if you do not have time to talk about this Vishnu Sahasranamam, chant on the name of Rama. And that is sufficient for you to reach liberation, is what Shiva is telling. So now you know very clearly, let me go back to our material life husbands, right? If you go and tell, I like this person or that person, even if it's like, what is the general tendency of any spouse? Why I'm there, na? So Shiva is so humble and he's so praying that he is explaining to Parvati, very clearly establish the position of Vishnu. He says that if you can't do the 1,000 names, do once the name of Rama, right? So if you tell Rama's name, that is more than sufficient to replace Vishnu's name, is what he is trying to tell to Parvati. So actually, so this is a equivalent. So they say 1,000 names of Vishnu is equal to Rama's name. So that it's actually 1,000 names equal to 3 times Rama's name, which is what he says, and 3 times Rama's name equal to 1 time Krishna's name. So we are anyway chanting both in Ramajam. Our mantra is built in that. Hare Krishna. So this is what is going on the Smarana. So Yomam evam asambudo Anati Purushotamam Sasarva Vidbhajante Ma Sarva Bhavena Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata.
So very clearly he is declaring, right? Whoever knows me as the Supreme Person, right, of God, without doubting, right? Shraddha is so important. Faith, right? Even among humans and friends, we tell, right? She doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me. Trust is so important. So when it is so important, why is it important? Because we all expect that, because this is what we had. We've experienced. We've had anyone, Krishna, trusting us 100%. We used to trust him 100%, right? Somewhere deep down, we've lost it, and that's why we are here. So it's right now important that we regain our trust. Hare Krishna.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Very clearly he says that this is the most confidential part, right? We already said the most confidential in 9, where devotional service, right? Bhakti is the most confidential. So this is the end of Purushottam Yoga. So this, what we need to understand, and I want to go back to this tree little bit, is just one second. So this one, if you see, is very important that you understand, and that's why I was keeping this to the last. Can you see Krishna over there? And there, like you see a mirror image in the water, like that Krishna's image, the entire tree is reflection, right? So roots are upward and the branches are downward. So what are these branches? If you see, this particular inverse thing has got so many things, right? You can see at the beginning, initial stages, right? At the root is Brahma who's sitting. So as you go down, at the top you have, that is Dhruva Savital, the bottom here, this part, right, where you see the roots are mode of goodness, which is there, because it's an upside down reflection. Whatever is reflecting there, is in the spiritual world, whatever, as I said, is the highest, there is the lowest here. So all the liberated entities are all here. Can you see the horse? Can you see, the elephant? All this, I'm going to ask you all the names, right? So these are the things. So what is happening? We have Artha, right? We have Artha, Kama, Moksha. We have all these 4 things, right? So Vedic hymns are here, and religious activities are nothing but they are called we have that Artha, right? Kama, the economic. Moksha obviously is liberation, you know that. So that is what is given here. So all the pious acts which are done, they get 1/2. What happens in pious activity? All those are happy, right? They are towards liberation. All those who are, so the cow comes under pious, it's in the mode of goodness. So if you see this one, economic development, so if you see the pious activity, I'm just going here, all those Vedic hymns, all those who preach, who do yagnas are all coming in this category. So the middle portion represents the economic development, where we are talking about various things like starting all mode of passion. Rajas qualities are here. And the animal associated with that is a tiger. Tiger does not get its prey easily as we think. It has to hunt. And constantly it's on its alert to, keep hunting for its food. And on the right side, we have, sense gratification, you see, who are in the mode of ignorance. And impious people, go deep down. And also it talks about snake. we've always read, right? Snakes are for in the mode of ignorance. Even if you feed the snake with milk, the snake is going to give you poison only back, right? So that is the quality of the snake. So that is mode of ignorance. So if you see, as you go down, the ignorance becomes deeper and deeper. So this is very clearly the banyan tree's reflection. And understanding the banyan tree is so important because whatever, for example, servant here is very low, but if you see here, he's serving Krishna. The highest is a servitor relationship. And here, whatever lust, right, is considered very low, right? Relationship between a man and a woman, especially, on the illicit side. Over there, the Madhurya Rasa, whoever relates to Krishna, and that is considered as the highest. So, very clearly, anything which is dovetailed with Krishna gains spiritual quality. So, example, as I always tell, this mobile is very material, right? But this mobile becomes, can you see? I don't know, I can see all the shades. Yeah. This mobile becomes spiritual the moment you actually go towards Krishna, right? The moment we are in thinking of Krishna, using it for Krishna, it becomes spiritual. So our Vaishnavadis, who are we, actually use all the material things in the use of Krishna. We do not abandon. We don't tell, oh, I don't want. We tell them, yes, Krishna, I want it because I want it for you, right? Now the laptop we use is also for Krishna. So everything we do is for Krishna, service of Krishna. So I hope you enjoyed. Any questions? This is our chapter, Purushottam Yoga, chapter 15. So any questions you have? Hare Krishna. So I'll pause. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please stay because we will have our, I already told you, all right, we will have our part 3 of science and spirituality today. So we will have that. So we will continue the recordings also. So are you all ready for the part 3 of science and spirituality? Yeah. So let's see this. So what did we see in science and spirituality? We finished 2 parts. We spoke about science and we also spoke about spirituality and similarities, right? So we also, in the second part, read how it is important that both are aligned. We also saw Vedas, how important it is. And these are not said by the Vedists, but the scientists. All the top scientists are believers of God, right? So invariably, now we may contemplate, they believe in this, that, and all that. But end of the day, they believe in God and one God, which is Krishna. So now let's see what is it today we have and what is knowledge, right? We already were talking about science and knowledge and how they have to be hand in hand. So today, let's see how, science and knowledge are actually hand in hand and how we can use it and for our benefit. So let's have a quick jump on how knowledge becomes so inevitable, right? So why is it important and what are the ways we acquire knowledge? We have done a gist of it in gaining knowledge session, but this will be a little repetitive at the beginning, but just hold on because we will have more slides to come. So what is the mistakes made by science is what we saw. So why mistakes are made is more relevant than what mistakes, right? So why mistakes are made is the next part, which is ways of acquiring knowledge. So ways of acquiring knowledge, I have already told, the study of knowledge, right? So it's epistemology. So what does epistemology mean? It is a branch of philosophy concerned with nature and origin of knowledge. What is knowledge? Is what is read, the source, right? It asks the question, how do we know what we know? It's a very intelligent question, actually. It reads the nature and the origin, where it came from, right? Of course, all of you all know that knowledge is given by Krishna, and that's in chapter 15. And clearly in 15.15, he says that. But let's see what science explains this. So there are 2 processes of knowledge. One is the ascending process and the other one is the descending process. Ascending process is through ways, right? It is called Pratyaksha and Anuman Praman, and descending process is called Sabda Praman. Okay, so let's see what it is. So this one is the first one, which is Pratyaksha Praman. Seeing is believing, perceiving is believing. I have to see to believe. So that is one. Second one is Anuman Praman. These are theory. It's basically hypothesis, right? You see theories based on whatever it is by proof. This is how it is there. The third one is Sabda Brahman. Sabda means noise, right? Hearing. From a bona fide authority. Please hear bona fide authority and highlight. So what is it? So what is happening here is, so what is happening, how knowledge is acquired? By what we perceive, right? What we see. Second one is mentally we concoct, we think, we analyze, we reason out. That is authoritative testimony, right? So let's dive deep down and see what each. So what is Pratyaksha Praman, right? As I told, seeing is believing, right? So why not we see and believe? Because our eyes are mine, right? So I can trust mine more than something else or somebody else. We cannot acquire absolute knowledge through material senses. If you notice, right, if you go back to the 11th chapter, Krishna is giving this special cooling glass, right? 3D glasses for Arjuna. Right? Jnana Chakshu, he gives Divya Drishti for seeing his Vishwarupa. Also, Vyasa gives Divya Drishti for Sanjaya to see the whole thing. Why? Because this is required to see God, because Krishna is spiritual and we need with our material senses, because eyes are all material, right? So if we burn, I will also get burned. So with material senses, we can't see him. So we cannot understand the absolute truth through our blunt material senses. Why? Why can't we do? What's wrong? We always like the why. Because senses are imperfect. We'll be illusion, right? Tendency to commit mistakes is very high. Why are our senses imperfect? To tell in one line, a little more in depth of that is a funny incident happens, right? So your dog gets to know when the owner is far away, but you are own family member whom you know for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, you barely get to know the person until the person rings your bell, right? So our own senses are absolutely wrong. We need external protection, right? Line. So in darkness, if I see even a snake, I mean a rope, I'll think it's a snake. So we are already illusioned, right? Even with the senses. So that's a larger issue. Tendency to make mistakes is very human, right? So you will see all of us, we tend to make, even though this, we are all very familiar with network, sometimes we fumble, even the small things. In olden days, they had something called errors and omissions exempted, right? Those, I think you have not seen the era of typewriter, but if you manage to get a typewriting type, paper with that typewriter, just have a look. It will say clearly emissions and errors and omissions, E and EO, right? OE, errors and E and EO, sorry. Errors and emissions are exempted. What does it mean? This should exclude, because today we have the back space, come back, delete, right? With typewriter days, that was not existing. So that is there, right? So now what? Cheating propensity. We have this little trust issue because naturally we are born cheaters. There is that little propensity. So when there is a chance to work from home or take exam, the propensity to open the book and see a little only that one line only I forgot. Happens or not? Happens with me. Yes or no? Are you with me? Does it happen, or you all are very honest children? It cannot be that the whole thing you'll copy. Little bit can I see? At least that propensity will come. You may control and move yourself to mode of goodness. You may copy and move down to ignorance, but that propensity is always there. Can you just have a look a little bit, that one word? Yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yes, that propensity is what drives us, right? These are 4 imperfect things. So why are we imperfect? See, now if I'm going to talk, you're not going to believe, right? So let's go into data. Prices are blind outside the range of 4,000 arms to 7,000. Our ears outside the range of 20 hertz to 20 hertz, both ways. They are deaf, you can't hear. Extreme noise, you can't. What is the tendency of illusion? Did you even realize this? Because I didn't until I was working on this slide. It cannot even distinguish between hissing of a cooker and a train, right? So it can actually confuse you. Now tongue. Tongue, we all have experience, we all know this. If you eat orange after a sugar, it's sour. 11, it's sweet, right? So the tendency is there. Now coming to a skin, all those who swim, you all will understand this better. When the climate is very cold outside, the water in the pool is very warm. Likewise, if it is very hot outside, it's very chill inside the pool, right? You feel, in fact, literally freezing. Same water touched with warm hands appear cool. Touched with cold hand appears warm. This is the reason. So this is an illusion of the skin. So now eyes are perfect. My eyes are like perfect vision, right? So let's see how perfect it is. Now you're going to guess how old this girl is or this lady is. So I'm going to hold it for a second for you to take a detailed look on about her. Can you see how she looks? Right? Can you see the older? Yeah. So the older version, right? Is it? So tendency to commit mistake is, you all know, I already told you in science what happens. Not only that, old researchers were proved, disproved. Stars were considered pinpricks on a crystal globe, right? Once upon a time. Electricity and heat were considered as fluids. Brain was thought of a cooling agent. Yeah, you can Google it. Now, Piltdown van fraud. Please Google this. It's a huge thing, right? It was later told that whatever they discovered, connecting link, right, of Darwin's theory that man came from monkey, the jaw which they used was actually a filled jaw. So you all can Google this, and we will do Darwin's also next time. Anuman Praman, research, right? Yes, we like it. Now, okay, seeing is believing. I'm going to do research. Chemistry lab, I do research, right? I mix two chemicals and one comes out of it. So that is proof, right? So litmus test, I'm a believer of that. It may have been like this, or perhaps it was like that. So it's always hypothesis. Have you written your physics? All of you who wrote physics and chemistry, do you remember hypothesis 1, hypothesis 2? All 1, 2, 3 goes on and on, right? So what is the next option? Sabda Praman, hearing from bona fide authority. Why? Because as I said, Vedas are like mother, and trusting Vedas is like when your mom tells this is your father. Very strong statement, but Prabhupada's version, so I'm using the same words out here. So what is special about this is because of the directly by Krishna and free from defects. And by bona fide authority, he tells this as it is, which is why our Bhagavad Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. There is nothing. Everybody is here to hear Bhagavad Gita as it is. Nobody would like to know my opinion. Radhika's opinion, nobody cares, because each one of us have an opinion. What are we here for? To understand what Krishna has told verbatim, right? That is what it is. So this is a picture of Voyager, you can see. So why am I put this is because it's from a distance, right? It's very tiny. It's very tiny. So that's what is the relationship with what we are. So let's go back to the ant. So now whenever I'm talking, there is an ant listening. You may not even see the ant, but there are maybe lots of ants, right? It is also said that the weight of the ants all put together is heavier than human. How? If it goes beyond our head, it's confusing, because the number of ants are far, far more than human. Does the war is on the other side of the globe? So now, does the ant know this? Now I'm going to explain this quickly. Can you see the two tiny mouse here on the top? These represents day and night. And this guy who's hanging is talking about the conditional light. What is this risk of fall down mode of ignorance? There will be a snake which can hit him. Now Krishna is lending his hand to us. Come here, come here. We wouldn't listen. So is he very secure? He thinks I'm going to hold my grip and I believe. And how long can he hold? Right? Until the dying day. Right? He can't even hold it that long. Try it out how long each one of you can hold. I can't even few seconds. Now what is happening is, on the other side, the tree is being pulled by all these modes, right? So mode of ignorance playing, mode of passion, mode of goodness, everything is there. So now what is he doing? Leaving all this is behind at his back, and there are drops of honey falling from this honeycomb. Can you see? And there is also a risk that the honeycomb can bite him, but then these drops he's just wanting to taste it. For that, which he is trying to taste, he's struggling here without holding Krishna's hand. Now, the moment you hold Krishna's hand, will you even bother? Because you are not going to grip him. He is going to grip him, right? And that is a confident hand. So this is what it is. And when I was little, I used to tell, this crossing of the road, please don't try. But crossing of the road, I used to be very scared. So if someone used to hold my hand, I used to cross the road. I used to close my eye, 75% close my eye. So I used to trust the other person, my mom or someone more, and my dad, more confident, and I still enjoy that moment of life, which is my best moment of life, right? No fear, nothing. And now when you cross your hand, you look here, you look there, you don't know. And today traffic, you don't know how to cross because people don't know how to drive and we forget how to cross. That moment of bliss is amazing, right? So we found the real problem, right? This person is not wearing gloves. Even if he wears gloves, how much he can hold? Krishna is calling you, but we don't care. So what is the role of faith? Very important point which we have to understand. Why faith, right? So let's come to faith in the spiritual world later. So let's see first. Science itself requires faith. We don't know our logic is correct. I don't know you are there. You don't know I'm here because at least I'm showing video. Many of you are not even showing video, so I wouldn't know. We may just be imagining all this, right? I have a faith that the world is what it seems like. Unless I believe you are there. I can't prove it from any fundamental point of view. Yet I have to accept a certain framework in which to operate. The idea that religion is faith, science is knowledge, I think is quite wrong. It misses the actual basis of science, which is faith. We scientists believe in the existence of eternal world and the validity of our logic. We feel quite comfortable about it. Nevertheless, they are acts of faith. We can't prove them. So beautiful. He says, I can't prove. Charles Stones, right? He says, I can't prove. He's a Nobel Prize winner. He says, though I can't prove, there is belief. Bhagavad Gita. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Very clearly, knowledge. Faith. Shraddha means faith. Science strives to enhance the power, knowledge, and reach of mankind, right? And who helps to get that knowledge? God and science, what is the link? Very important, right? It's a question mark. That's why we feel we are very scientific. We don't believe in God because we are intelligent. We relate to science. The process of knowledge, right? It has a boundary. There is an interface. Like Mahatattva, we have an interface. Outside this, there are 125 unsolved questions, right? What is unsolved is already solved and answered in Veda. Beyond knowledge is God. So let's go by creation. Wow, such a beautiful car. Did it come automatic? You have automatic cars, but the origin of automatic cars is also a company, a man, a person manufacturing it. Maybe a group of people. Computers. Someone assembled it for us, right? Parts are made by one. Assembled. Lovely time clock, watch. Someone made it. I may see a brand behind it, but still someone made it, right? Someone designed it. Wow, this was a dream 100 years back. Nobody even imagined this could happen. There is a company manufacturing and company is made of people, lovely sculptures. Who carved it? Automatic? No, it was carved. There's a man, there's an artist. Common sense, right? Any creation must have an intelligent creator. Anything, an intelligent brain. This is common sense. Common sense is what is Bhagavad Gita, but what is it lacking is common sense is not very commonly available. That is the challenge. Don't you think there should be a creator for the following too? So beautiful. Can you pick the colors? Is there anything to outbid the beauty of the peacock? Yeah. When I'd been to a place, this peacock started dancing and I've now put it in my GIF also. So beautiful, and that's a visual treat. Has to see. So cute too. All those, we all are animal lovers, right? So all of us are there. Wow, so cute. I still keep wondering how cutely that color, multicolor comes on the cat. Oh my God, butterfly, all of us have chased it. Yes or no? So now the so-called foremost creations human. Why do I call it so-called? Because many of us are not yet evolved. The most sophisticated computer in the universe is human brain. Okay, what does Richard say? Dr. Richard is saying the human brain can store more information than all the libraries in the world. Dr. Tony is saying that the human brain is made up of trillion brain cells. And each one of these is more powerful and sophisticated than the computers around the planet today. Who made this natural intelligence of this incredible, complex brain, the human brain? Who made this? Right? Did it evolve? Did it suddenly burst something and come out? Right? Doesn't happen that way, right? Shouldn't this universe with wonderful creations have a super intelligent creator? Super intelligent creator? If you think strongly enough, you will be forced by science to believe in God. So beautiful, right? If you're intelligent, you will understand science. If you're super intelligent, you will understand God. Kelvin. This is what Kelvin says. entropy, right? So I'm not going in depth, but I'll just give you a view. It's randomness of the universe is continuously increasing, right? The randomness is increasing. What is the second law of thermodynamics, right? So it is basically time arrow and time, right? There is complexity. This is a law of dynamics and evolution. I'm just going to not touch too much in the subject. But why is it, what is Lord Kelvin, the father of thermodynamics, saying? Evolution of species means constant and steady increase in order and complexity. The amoeba to man idea. The second law says no such thing can occur spontaneously. It can never, automatic occurrence cannot happen. He still says overwhelming strong proofs of intelligence and benevolent design lie around us. The aesthetic idea is so nonsensical that I cannot put it in words, right? Sometimes people talk atheistical, right? Sometimes atheists are very proud, they are very intelligent. Why it comes is because they envy, they have this pride, I factor. The most primitive cell may require at least 700 different specific biological micromolecules. How such already quite complex structures may have come together remain a mystery to me. Possibility of existence of creator of God represents to me a satisfactory solution to the problem. Werner Arbor very clearly saying, oh, God is the one which gives me an answer to my unsolved question. What does Francis say? He says, when you have for the first time in front of you this 3.1 billion letter instruction book that conveys all kinds of information and all kinds of mystery about humankind, you can't survey that going through page after page without a sense of awe. I can't help but look at those pages and have a vague sense that this is giving me a glimpse of God's mind. Such a great philosopher, scientist is saying, I can get a glimpse. How can we get Krishna's prediction? The top scientists, right? You know the names and you all can see all these names, right? You have Planck, you have Einstein, we read a quick thing. You have Max Born, you have Ramanujam, you have Copernicus, you have Mendel, you have Kepler, you have Pasteur, Robert Boyle, Richman, Newton, Maxwell, Faraday, right? You know these names so well. Are all these, all of them, right? All of them, Mendedev, all of them are total believers of Krishna. So this question is always there, right? Did Apple fall due to gravity before Newton, right? Before Newton discovered also Apple fell, right? Science, free creation of concepts, accounts for observation. Quinine was the medicine more forever, right? Quinine Dulo under determination hypothesis. So that's a question now. More than one theory can account for the same data. Which theory is true? Newton mechanics and theory of relativity. Okay, use different notions to account for falling of Apple. Many theories are there. Did Apple fall due to gravity before Newton? Theory of relativity or Newtonian mechanics? So these are all questions which I'm going to leave you to ponder around. Yeah. And science and spirituality, when you open your science book, when you don't have a question answered, trust me, it is there in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and the Veda base. And trust me, many times we feel I'm missing out something. If you do not read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, you will miss something in life. This is something which I will tell you. Don't miss this opportunity, because I have felt that I have read so many books. I'm not a book reader, but still, you know, your studies, education makes you read. And still I feel that I've never felt the joy I felt in reading these books, time after time. Hare Krishna all, and thank you so much. Is there any questions which I can help you with? Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. So if there are no questions, I just like to quickly introduce the Damodar month. Thank you, Uncle. Damodar month. So what is about the Damodar month? Damodar month has a speciality wherein you can, you know, this is a month starting from 20th, right? And South they call it Kartiga month also. So what they do is they keep this lamb before Krishna, and you put ghee and ghee diya. That's it. Tentative time 7:30 to 8 p.m. That's the time we do in Mandir. So please, this 1 month if you do, it's supposed to be very special. So it's nice if your family is involved. Otherwise, you can do. Damodar Ashtakam, I think our admins have shared. Otherwise, they will share again. You can just chant that in whichever way is comfortable for you. And what is the speciality of Damodar is that Krishna is being tied, right, by Yashoda Devi by a means of a rod. That is what Damodar, right? So when he's tying, she tries hard, and 1 inch she's got a challenge of 2 inches, which all of us have. So what are the 2 inches represent? One is our interest towards Krishna, right? Like our endeavor. She's putting it. And immediately Kripa Shakti is coming and telling that, okay, you're struggling so much. Krishna is giving that Shakti. Okay, go ahead, right? So if you put our efforts, endeavor, that another 1 inch will be given by Krishna. That is a moral of Damodar. Very important, because we can only put this much efforts, which is our maximum effort. And if he sees a maximum endeavor from our side, Krishna will come for liberating us, and he will do the other 1 inch for us, right? So we have to put our first step. Hare Krishna. So if there are no questions, we can end this session. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.